My name is Lisa. Most of you know me. Shotana and I will be hosting the video asking questions of our fellow authors today. We hope you enjoy this Q&A and join in and ask us more questions. We'd love to hear from you.
Thanks, Lisa. All right. Just wanted to welcome you here. We're about to start all these questions and answers, and we want to thank you for taking the time to send questions and thank the authors for taking the time to answer them. We really appreciate it. Don't forget, this is just a question per author. There's lots of questions that people wanted to ask, and there are lots of answers that authors are willing to give. So don't forget to use the comment section under the video and ask all the questions that didn't get answered. Just tag the author or just leave it for all the authors, whatever you want to do. And let's have fun. This party, I'm sure, has been great. I've been asleep. And so I'm really looking forward to learning more about the other authors myself. All right, Lisa, this question's for you. Readers want to know, what does the M stand for in Lisa M. Prysock?
Hey everyone, my contribution to this collection is a Regency romance novella titled Jory's Story, hence my gardening hat. You might have found something like this in that era. And no, I won't tell anyone what the M stands for in my author name. I'll leave that for you to guess. And now I'll sign a copy of my debut, To Find a Duchess, another Regency romance novella, because I love that era so much. And I hope you're all enjoying the party. I'd love to hear more questions from you. And there you are. Thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight. So let's check in with Lenore today. What are you up to, Lenore?
Lenore Rose Burkhardt here. As you can see, I'm wearing a Regency gown. I'm going to a Jane Austen event tomorrow, and I write Regency romance. But going to the event, gave me a good excuse to try on my outfit today, and I thought I would make my video for you. Regency romance is one of the genres I write, but probably my favorite. And I'm standing in front of a Sir Thomas Lawrence painting. I love art. I love Sir Thomas's art, and any Lawrence painting was probably done during the Regency or the late Georgian period, right before the Regency. Most of us Regency romance writers love to collect stuff from the period, and I'm no different. Anyway, as you have guessed, it's not an original. So we're doing a virtual book signing, so I brought a book along. I picked Forever Lovely. It's book 2 in my Regency Romance Time Travel series, and it will be for sale at the Jane Austen event tomorrow, which I'm very happy about, as well as book 1. But I thought I'd sign this one because it kind of matches the gown. So I'm going to sign it and then show it to you. So I've done my part of this virtual book signing. Okay, one moment. Here we go. Now, when you participate tonight, I believe you'll be getting a PDF with all of our signatures. So I hope you enjoy that. It's going to have a lot of other fun stuff in it too. And if I think we're playing this during my time to moderate, which is around 8 o'clock at night. So thank you for coming. Thank you for being here this late and participating. I hope you have been having fun and will continue to. I look forward to reading your comments, getting to know some of you maybe for the first time. If you've been following me for some time, I hope you're not too shocked at how old I've gotten. I need a new author photo. But anyway, thanks again, and have a great time. Thanks for reading our work, and God bless you. Bye.
That moment you're recording and someone decides to have something tragical or scary or emergency-al happening, and the police go driving by and the dogs start howling and life is going. Yeah, that's my life. Welcome to Blooper. Okay, this question is for Kit Morgan. Okay, Kit, are you ready? Readers want to know, is that your real name?
Hi, Kit Morgan here. And is Kit Morgan my real name? No, it's not. Because when you have multiple pen names, I don't know, for me, I don't want to use my real name. I was raised by a homicide detective. It's kind of beat into me. Safety first. Don't let anybody know who you are. Um, but how did I get that name? Well, for those of you that don't know, the bulk of my books are contemporary and historical Western romance, but I actually started out in sci-fi fantasy under Geraldine Beauchamp. When I needed a name for my Western romances, I picked a character from my Time Master series, Kitty Morgan, who became Kit Morgan, who in my Time Master series does write Westerns. Ooh, so it all comes full circle. So who knows if those time travelers show up in my Westerns or not? They do.
I am back with my cowboy hat on, and we do have a lot of Western Victorians in our collection. But my question is for Mary Lou Tyndall. And what I'd like to know is, why did you write a story about a privateer in our collection? Tell us more about that, Mary Lou.
Why did I write a story about a privateer? Well, first of all, I love tall ships. I grew up on the beaches of South Florida, dreaming of pirates and mermaids and tall ships. And so when I became a writer, my first series is a series about Christian pirates. And yes, pirates can be Christians too. You have to read the series. But anyway, I was doing research on the War of 1812 and discovered that it was the privateers who actually won that war for America, because we had hardly any navy and very little army at the time. And privateer is a captain who gets special permission from the government, a letter of marque, to go attack any enemy ship, including merchant ships. And that's how we won that war. And I wondered if we had done that in the Revolutionary War, and indeed we did. So I thought, why not write a story about a privateer in the Revolutionary War? And hence, the Privateer's Prize, the novella in this collection, was born. It's also very romantic and adventurous. So I hope you enjoy it. And you can see I also have an aquarium. This is my office. It's kind of a mess right now, but I love anything to do with the sea and the fish and stuff. And I also oil paint in my spare time. I wanted to show you my latest creation. Guess what? It's a tall ship. Anyway, I have fun doing that, but I don't have a lot of spare time. So I'm going to sign the book I'm giving away in this party. It's the last in my pirate series. You don't have to have read the other ones, and I'm going to sign it for you now. There you go. Thank you so much for coming and for just being a part of our party and for reading our books. And we write to entertain you, but also to glorify God and bring you closer to Jesus. And I hope and pray that that's what we accomplish. So thank you so much, and God bless all of you, and we'll talk soon.
They just keep coming. I'm sitting here trying to ask Camille her question. There's like 6 that have gone by. We have a little town. I think we only have 6 cruisers in the whole town. Okay. Deep breath. I think we're good. Nope. Is that another one? Okay, we're going to call this good. Okay, this one is for Camille Elliott. Cammy Tang. What? Yeah, I knew it was supposed to start with what. What inspired you to write Lissa and the Spy? Readers are dying to know.
Hi, I'm Cami. So, when I was writing my Lady Winwood's Spy series, it's an ensemble cast, and one of the heroines, Kiraya, has 2 older sisters. And one of those sisters just happened to show up in a scene. And as I was writing the scene, Lissa just kind of leapt off the page, and I somehow knew that her husband was a spy. So, I wrote their love story in my novella, Lissa and the Spy. I hope you enjoy it. I also hope you enjoy our live Zoom book signing party.
This question is for author Louise M. Gouge. Louise, tell us a little more about the heroine in your story. We'd love to hear from you.
My heroine, Anne Husey, was a secondary character in a previous book. She was such a lovely, good-hearted woman, but married to a cruel husband, so I thought it would be fun to give her a happily ever after story. Before my novella begins, Anne has been a widow for several months, struggling to support herself by renting 2 rooms to other widows and selling vegetables grown in her own garden. As a Quaker lady, Anne can't understand why people go to war, but she's stuck in St. Augustine while the war rages in the northern colonies, and she can't return to her home island, Nantucket. Now, what would make the perfect counterbalance hero for such a peace-loving woman? Why, a soldier, of course, but not one of the British soldiers billeted in St. Augustine, although many of them seek her hand and her property. No, her hero must be an American patriot, Patrick Blakemore, who's been in prison in nearby Fort St. Mark's, but who's been given freedom to roam the walled city as long as he promises not to escape. Anne and Patrick meet, and the attraction is instantaneous, but many obstacles arise to keep them apart. Come along on the adventure to their happily ever after. This story practically writes itself, and I'm going to write my signature right now. And there you go.
Okay, this question is for Marlene Byerworth, and readers want to know, do you have hobbies, other things in writing? What hobbies? My dog wants to know, apparently. He just came in. So anyway, Marlene, hobbies?
Hello. Today I'd like to tell you about my favorite hobby, oil painting. I brought my brush and my palette along, and I'm ready to do another picture as soon as I finish my book. Anyway, I gathered a few of my pictures together that I had hanging around the house, and basically what I like to do is landscapes, and I just had a few here that I have hanging around the house. This one you might be particularly interested in because it depicts what we all love as romance readers. A nice ride in the woods with your sweetheart in a horse and buggy. That was one of my favorites. I like to do snow pictures because snow is just such a great element. Not 2 snowflakes are the same. And much like a story, not 2 stories are the same. Even when we follow the same trope, 2 authors will give you a totally different story. 2 painters will give you a totally different picture, even if we're following the same copy. I tried my hand at contemporary back here, and it was a fun experience, but I loved the glory of the Lord fills the whole earth. That's what my motto in life is. I love creation and I love the glory of the Lord. I just have one little story about my little squirrel here. My husband came home from work one day and I had this sitting on my pallet or on my stand, and he said, "Oh, how did that squirrel get in the house?" So I think that that's a compliment that I got him just right, because he thought he was real in the house. Anyway, that's about it for today. One last thing I have for you is I know that readers love authors' signatures. So I want to give that to you today as a gifting. And God bless you.
This question is for Teresa. Without giving anything away, can you tell us your favorite scene that you wrote in your book?
The community is gathered for a barn raising, and the young women are circulating through the crowd serving food to the men who've just finished working. Priscilla has a cobbler over her arm, and she's getting ready to serve it to the hero. She knows he'll love it. So as she's standing there, she manages to get jostled, and she dumps the entire cobbler down his back. He leaps up, he takes a piece off of his shoulder, pops it in his mouth, and says, "Oh, it was so worth it. It was good." The other guys are teasing him, laughing, and saying, "Oh, yeah, you knew you'd figure out a way to get it all to yourself." Well, he runs down to the creek to get cleaned up. Priscilla is mortified. She's so embarrassed. Everyone's staring at her, everyone is laughing, and the other young ladies are telling her how clumsy she is, and they knew it would happen to her. So she runs down to the creek after him to help, you know, apologize. The whole scene, and down at the creek, we have an interaction. It is funny, it's flirty. I had so much fun writing this scene and telling the story, and they get to know each other just from this one scene at the creek. They get to know each other better than maybe a whole lot of exposition would have explained it. It even ends funny. It's really cute. So I hope readers love it. I hope they really love getting to know Isaiah and Priscilla the way that I have. And I am signing one of my books. This is my first historical series, The Willowwood Brides. And I am signing a copy for someone who is watching. And this was a really fun series. I learned a lot about historical fiction. Thank you all for being here tonight and getting to know all the writers involved in Once Upon a Courtship.
All right, this one, guys, is for Trisha Goyer, and the question for her was, what inspired you to write Grace in the Storm? Well, Trisha?
I got the idea for Grace in the Storm when I was visiting Key West with my husband John. We were on vacation and we went to a museum there, and I heard about the hurricane that took out most of Key West. Of course, this was a time of pirates, of tavern owners, of a time where there was also slaves that either had escaped slavery or had been freed that were there. There was widows from those who had their husbands had been lost at sea. There was orphans who lost their parents. And I really wanted to pull this all together in a lighthearted romance with a hurricane, with this collection of people that would come together. It was amazing. I was able to use courtship and a little romance to tie this up. And I love Grace in the Storm. It is so fun, and I never know what I'm going to find when I'm on vacation, but I had a wonderful time with my husband, and I'm so excited to now have the book and be able to sign copies and get it out there to the world.
This question is for Shotana Havig. Shotana, do you enjoy writing historical, contemporary, or something else more? Let us know.
So they don't give us the easy questions, do they? For a lot of authors, this is a weird question. You know, what's your favorite to write, historical or contemporary, whatever. And that's because most authors stick to one or the other. But I don't just do historical romance. Actually, romance is like not even close to the top of what I do. And I don't just do contemporary romance or a rom-com or fantasy, or I do a lot of different stuff. I do romantic suspense, I do straight up suspense, I do mystery, I do, I'm eclectic. And I think that's actually my favorite genre, is eclectic. Because I also tend to mesh and merge. But if I could only write one ever again, that's kind of where I have to go with on this, which one. See, I love the research for historical. I love finding things that I didn't know about the past, words that weren't in existence or were and I assumed wouldn't. Did you know snarky is a really old term from like the 20s? No, even before that, like 1901 to 5, they were using it. It's an older slang, and I was so surprised. So you learn all these crazy little things. Denise Varela learned that doorbells were big gift items during the 20s. Doorbells. What? It's just like, you learn these crazy little things that you had no idea. When I was researching one of my books that, it's this dual time, and part of it takes place in Texas around the time of the War for Independence. their war for independence, not the U.S. war for independence, but the battle of San Jacinto, which is what like decided it, it was 20 minutes. Santa Anna and the army were all taking a nap. The battle raged during a siesta, and geez, no wonder that we won. I mean, come on. So learning those things, those are really, really fun, and I love that part. And if finding accurate information wasn't so hard these days, and I know part of that is because I use the internet, there is so much misinformation and assumed things. Regency and Victorian era had different rules for society. It was much stricter in the Victorian, and I didn't know that. You know, you kind of assume that if it was strict here, it was even stricter before. And so finding that, and then you're dealing with the problem of like readers who assume the same as you do, and then they think you got it wrong, when actually your editor, bless that lovely woman's heart, corrected you, you know? Barbara, thank you. So there's that kind of thing that you just don't know, like receipt. Recipes used to be called receipts. And I learned that sort of in the Anne of Green Gables. I just thought it was the hick way that this woman in the book was talking, because she was kind of a more of a hick character, and I just thought it was like some weird thing for her. No, it was a thing until like the turn of the 20th century. They were called receipts. And so occasionally I'll get an email saying, you got a typo here. And I'm like, actually, no. And I'm like, you know, you don't want to like correct a reader who's just being kind and trying to help you, right? So I love all of that. But because there is so much misinformation, it's frustrating. And yet contemporary has the same problem, just in different regions. In my own town, I wrote a book and I was like, I need to know what this bar in town looks like inside, because I got to put it in this book. I've never been in a bar. Okay, I was when I was an infant, but that's a different story. You know, but I've never, but so off I go, because you got to do your research. I was so miserable and so awkward. And I go to, they're closed. They've been closed for 2 years and I didn't know it. Yeah, I totally changed that. But that's why I write fictional towns, because stuff doesn't change unless I want it to, Dad, burn it. So, I don't know. The interesting thing is that contemporary will eventually become historical. And you could argue, that if you wrote futuristic, then what is happening now is definitely historical. So I'm going to stick with historical, but I write more contemporary. I'll admit that. Thank you for asking.
I will never tell, not in a million years, but I encourage readers to try and guess what the M stands for.
Well, guys, this has been fun. I hope you've had a blast. We've had fun. Please, again, don't forget to ask your questions in the comment areas. Any other questions you have specific to our novellas, or specific to our writing, or specific to our lives, or even, you know, where can we find a good insert object here? If we know it, we'll answer it. And you have a great evening. Thanks for being here and being a part of this party. We so appreciate it. Thursday, just a couple more days. We got this.